Hello, this is Zane Griffith with Group 12's second submission, as myself, Matthew, and Delina were not credited on the first attempt. This is the updated list of members and task assignments. So our topic is gestational crates and sows for pork production. Let's do this. Popular press perspectives. So what you see in that image is actually a farrowing crate, and a lot of the popular press perspectives that we found all came sort of to the same conclusion that this is the really big issue with the gestation crates, as the mother pigs aren't able to do anything except for eat, breed, and nurse their piglets, who are quickly taken from them almost immediately. Some businesses, like we said here, Smithfield Foods, are trying to move to communal housing arrangements, but that's a hard thing to do because they need to manage the stress and all the health issues that these mother pigs have, because they have been living like this for a long time. The issues that we've seen is like the confinement, like you saw, they're super closely packed together. They can't socialize at all. Their health is deteriorating. Increased levels of stress, agitation, aggressiveness for sure. Because, why would they want to be in a situation like that? Intensive breeding, these mother pigs are constantly being bred, almost with no breaks. And after they have these piglets, they're taken from them immediately and they're bred again. Why do pork producers use them? Because it's cheap. In a capitalistic society like we live in the United States, the cheaper option is normally the preferred option to do most things, especially with something like this. It manages aggressiveness in groups of sows. They can control the health a lot easier to pick and prod these sows, do their blood work, make sure they're getting the proper nutrition they need. The bare minimum, basically. I'm sorry that got cut off there at the top. Are there more humane and higher welfare alternatives? Yes. Group pens, indoors with slated floors. You can fit 200 sows in there. I believe that's what's pictured in that top right image. That's just like what you would expect to see with a farm. Something a little more humane. Free range. That's things when you think of free range chicken or free range beef. It sounds good on a label. You're more likely to buy it. But it sounds good because it is good. They live a much more natural lifespan. And they're not being confined and living in these tiny little pens. Now, the scientific perspective, you can't lie with the statistics. Sows that are housed individually in these farrowing crates have a higher likelihood of birthing a stillborn piglet, or piglets that have already been mummified from being in the pen and they didn't realize the piglet was in the pen. There's also evidence of higher levels of cortisol in the sow's bloodstream, which increases aggressiveness, stress, lameness. They're not really moving at all. Is it normal? And I didn't realize how normal it was, but yeah, only 2 states in the United States ban gestation pork crating, which I thought was pretty wild because this is pretty crazy. Summary. Majority of the press and scientific articles all came to the same conclusion that it's not really a great thing, but it is the cheap alternative to just having a group pen, group housing, which I believe is the best alternative right now, is just group housing. That's what you'll see back up here on this picture. Up in the top right, just those sows in there chilling with their buddies, living a normal life. Science doesn't lie. You can't lie with facts, and the fact is that these pigs are living much worse lives. They're completely stressed out, and the likelihood that a piglet even survives is decreased due to these gestation periods. And there's barely any regulations, and I think that needs to be changed also. And in conclusion, finally, it is just sad. It is just a very sad thing. Well, that was our second submission. Thank you.